Max Verstappen has just unleashed a revelation so explosive, it's shaken the very foundations of Red Bull racing. After the chaos of the Spanish Grand Prix, he didn't hold back. No filters. No team-first diplomacy. Instead, he said it loud and clear. Red Bull is simply too slow to win the 2025 World Championship. And for a four-time world champion, that's a devastating admission. One that not only stuns the paddock, but sends a powerful message to his own team. This wasn't frustration talking. It was the cold reality of a race that spiraled out of control. Red Bull had tried a bold three-stop strategy, but after Kimi Antonelli's retirement brought out the safety car, Verstappen was left with no choice but to bolt on hard tyres, while his rivals had fresh softs. The result? He was overtaken, penalised after contact with Russell, and dropped to P10, leaving him 49 points behind Oscar Piastri. And instead of blaming bad luck, Verstappen pointed at something far more serious. The car. The lack of grip. The tyre degradation. The overall pace. According to Max, the title fight is already slipping away. Not because of the driver, but because the machine beneath him just isn't good enough. In this video, we'll break down Verstappen's brutal honesty, the reaction inside Red Bull, and what this all means for the 2025 season. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay until the end. Because what Verstappen just revealed could change everything. And what makes this moment even more alarming for Red Bull is that Verstappen didn't just throw his team under the bus. He laid bare a truth that's been whispered around the paddock for weeks. The magic is gone. The era of domination is crumbling, and it's not happening gradually. It's collapsing lap by lap, corner by corner, mistake by mistake. For a team that once operated with surgical precision, what we're seeing now looks uncomfortably close to improvisation. The penalty in Spain wasn't just a rules violation. It was a symptom of a much deeper issue. Verstappen's frustration didn't come from losing positions. It came from the sheer helplessness of having no weapon to fight back. A Red Bull car that once allowed him to slice through the field now left him stranded, defending desperately on cold hards while others danced past him on softs. But here's where the story takes an even sharper turn. Because this isn't just a Max Verstappen problem. Helmut Marko, the man who's never been afraid to speak his mind, is now echoing the same fears. According to him, Verstappen is already mentally checking out of the title fight. And more importantly, he understands why. Red Bull's package is fundamentally flawed. The upgrades are inconsistent, the tyre management is fragile, and the once dominant RB Series car has now become just another machine trying to keep up with McLaren and Ferrari. Let that sink in. Red Bull, the team that crushed the 2023 and 2024 seasons with surgical perfection, is now openly questioning its ability to compete. Not behind closed doors, not in whispers, but out in the open, through the mouth of its superstar driver and its most powerful advisor. And that public honesty changes everything. Because when your biggest weapon, the most dominant driver in modern Formula One, stops believing, the rest of the team follows. Behind the scenes, the tension is rising. Engineers are scrambling. Aerodynamicists are analysing every piece of data. The strategy department, once praised for their genius calls, is now under internal review. And every decision, from tyre compounds to pit stop timing, is being second-guessed. Because now every point matters, every mistake is amplified, and every race is a referendum on whether Red Bull still has what it takes. Meanwhile, McLaren and Ferrari aren't waiting, pushing harder, upgrading faster, executing better. And while Red Bull debates what went wrong, Oscar Piastri is quietly building a gap. A 49-point gap that's becoming harder and harder to ignore. Verstappen doesn't need to say it outright. The numbers do it for him. He's being left behind, and he knows it. And then there's the looming danger. Verstappen's super license points are on the edge. One more misjudgment, one more incident, and he could be forced to sit out a race. Imagine that. The cornerstone of Red Bull's entire 2025 campaign, benched because the frustration boiled over. It's a risk no top team can afford, but it's now a very real possibility. This is no longer about development delays or strategy errors. It's about confidence. And right now, Verstappen is sending a clear message to Red Bull. Either fix this now, or this season is lost. And once a driver of his caliber starts to lose faith, the consequences go far beyond lap times. They infect the garage, the morale, the future. Because drivers like Verstappen don't stick around for mediocrity. They race to win. And if Red Bull can't deliver that, the clock may already be ticking. So the question is no longer whether Red Bull will fight back. It's whether they still can. Whether they have the resources, the direction, and, most importantly, the belief. Because after what Verstappen just said, the pressure is no longer on him. It's on them. The next moves they make will decide everything. What makes this moment even more critical is the broader context of Verstappen's dominance. This isn't a rookie who's panicking at the first signs of struggle. This is a driver who has redefined consistency, who has built an entire reputation on extracting performance from any package, any weekend. So when he says publicly that they are way too slow to fight for the title, that's not just disappointment, that's a red flag. There's a psychological shift underway. For the first time in years, Verstappen isn't driving with confidence, he's driving with doubt. And that kind of mindset spreads. It affects feedback, it affects development, it affects the atmosphere inside the team. Red Bull's success has always come from relentless momentum, but momentum can reverse. And that's the real danger now, that the internal belief that powered them to titles might be giving way to confusion and fear. And what of the fans, the media, the rivals? They're all watching this unfold in real time. They see the cracks, they hear the uncertainty, and they smell blood in the water. For a team used to operating from the front, Red Bull suddenly feels vulnerable. That aura of invincibility is fading, and unless they turn it around immediately, that perception could become reality. So, where does Red Bull go from here? That's the million-dollar question. The margin for hesitation is gone. They can't afford to wait for a lucky weekend or a perfect setup window. They need answers, not just tweaks or patches, but real structural change. Whether it's a major rethink of their aerodynamic concept, a reshuffle in their technical hierarchy, or an emergency push on mid-season upgrades, the response has to be immediate. Because this isn't just about keeping pace. It's about survival in a championship that's slipping away fast. The next races come thick and fast. Montreal's unforgiving walls, Austria's altitude, Silverstone's flowing corners. Each one will test Red Bull in a different way. Each one could either mark a comeback or a collapse. And with Verstappen no longer willing to play the diplomat, the pressure from inside is now louder than ever. Make no mistake, this isn't just a dip in form. This is a crisis of identity. The team that once dominated with untouchable precision is now scrambling for answers. And with their star driver raising the alarm, the illusion of control is crumbling fast. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. Because if this is the beginning of the end, then what comes next could be the most dramatic chapter yet.